Hi guys, in the previous class we completed intrinsic value method, which we used to call it also as net asset value and breakup value method. Now here I take the second and the third method. Second method, yield value method, and the third, fair value. As I told you repeatedly, fair value is nothing but it is the average of the first two methods. Fair value method is the average of first two method. Now, let's keep aside fair value right now. Method number two, yield value method. That means you can say what is the expected yield by the shareholders, and on the basis of the performance of the company for profitability, what share value will be determined. Now, why I use the word profitability? Because you all remember I discussed many times while doing intrinsic value. What was the assumption for intrinsic value? Intrinsic value का assumption ये था that today if the company closes, then on closing, on liquidation, what will be the value per share received by each shareholder? What will be the value per share received by each shareholder? That was intrinsic value. Again I'll repeat, assumption क्या था उसमें? Today if the company closes down, what will be the share value to be received by the shareholders on each share? Assumption क्या था? Company closes down. There we needed only assets and liabilities. We were not supposed to know the profitability because वो method को profit से कुछ लेना देना नहीं था. Now coming to this, yield value में the basis on which yield value is calculated, उसका सबसे major assumption is that the company continues operation. Important for theory also. Intrinsic value में assumption was today the company closes. If the company closes today, this is the value per share. यहाँ पे the assumption is the company will continue its operations. Intrinsic value में we needed assets and liabilities. Profits loss का जरूरत नहीं था. Here I need profits का data, assets liabilities का जरूरत नहीं. Yes, I just need share capital का amount. So that is yield value. Now yield value में there are 4 steps. Small steps are there. So what I'll do, I'll directly show you in the sum only कैसे जाना है. I gave you the base. Assumption is company का operations will continue and the valuation is done on the basis that company का company operation will continue. It will not stop at least for the next 1 year. That is the basic assumption. Okay. Now see, I have made a small sum where we will see calculation of yield value, 4 steps, and then I have mentioned intrinsic value का straight away value. So what will happen? We will get the fair value. Whatever is the intrinsic value given in the question, whatever yield value we get, uska average will be fair value. Okay. Chalo, as I told you, I'll show you in the sum only and I'll make this very simple for you. Okay. Chalo, let's read the sum first. Following is the information given by ABC Ltd. 8,006% preference shares of 10 each, 20,000 equity shares of 10 each, average profit, income tax rate 30%, company transfers to general reserve every year 20% of the profits post tax, normal rate of return 12%, find out yield value per share. Now see, next time I've added, assuming that intrinsic value of share is of ABC is 18.67, find out the fair value. Okay. Now उसके लिए पहले हमें yield value चाहिए, because to get fair value I need intrinsic value as well as I need yield value. So we start with the sum, and as I told you there are 4 parts, and in that the first part is calculation of average profit. Calculation of average profit. Now see, when I say average profit now, either you have to calculate the average या तो क्वेश्चन में दिया रहेगा, जैसे कि इन दिस सम इट इज गिवन इन द क्वेश्चन द एवरेज प्रॉफिट. नाउ याद रखना गाइस, फॉर गुडविल ना वी नीडेड ओनली ट्रेडिंग प्रॉफिट. फॉर शेयर्स आई नीड द टोटल प्रॉफिट which can be inclusive of your non-operating income or after deduction of non-operating expense. Goodwill के लिए I needed trading profit, but for shares I need total profit including operating, non-operating. So when you calculate average profit, just take the profit given in the question. But yes, if they give you estimate, which you will see आगे जाके sums में, if they give you future का expense, then that you have to deduct. But जो past है वो करने का जरूरत नहीं है, because no adjustment is required as far as non-operating items are concerned, because ultimately the final profit goes to the shareholders. They are the owners. वो owners है, तो जो भी profit loss है end में उनका ही है. So no adjustment is required for non-operating items. Goodwill में चाहिए था because goodwill was valued for your business activity. इसके लिए I needed operating income only and we adjusted non-operating items. But यहाँ पे वो जरूरत नहीं है. Okay, so first calculation of average profit. Now as I told you, you may have to calculate or they'll give you. देखो दिया average profit 1 lakh. अगर नहीं दिया रहता, they would have given you 3 years, 4 years, so you would have written the formula and got the average profit same way how we used to do in goodwill. So first step का आंसर डायरेक्टली दिया हुआ है, that is average profit. Okay, straight away average profit is given. I repeat, had they given you 3 years, 4 years का profit, we would have added it and divided it by 3 or 4, whatever years it is. Okay, now after getting average profit, the next step is important. This is profit. Now I want profits for the equity shareholders. Ultimately I am finding out the value of shares, so I need profit available for equity shareholders. So what you will do, my second step will be calculation of profits available for equity shareholders. I need profits available for equity shareholders. Now for that, first I need the average profit as the base. So let me give the systematic heading. Now guys, understand this because this is very important. First I have, how we should do in super profit, average profit निकाला. Second step FMP में यही base होता था. Same way I will take that base only. So I take average profit, that is 1 lakh. Okay, average profit 1 lakh. Now the next step, from this average profit, same way goodwill में I needed profit after tax. यहाँ पे भी मुझे profit after tax चाहिए plus after appropriation also. I'll tell you what it is. So average profit में से deduct income tax if there is any. यहाँ पे दिया है income tax rate 30%. So 1 lakh is my average profit. 1 lakh का 30% gives you 30,000. So 1 lakh minus 30,000 gives you 70,000. Average profit is 1 lakh. Income tax is 30%. So 1 lakh minus 30% gives you 70,000. No need to write anything against that. Got it? Now see, this is my profit after tax. This is my profit after tax. Now as I told you, यहाँ पे we need the profits after tax and after appropriation. Now you all know what is appropriation. You all have done in company final account. You all have done in vertical statements and management accounting in SY also. इसमें से in case there is any transfer to reserves, then that we have to take first. Now see, they have given you the company transfers to general reserve 20% of the profit after tax every year post tax. This is post tax. वो लोग ने बोला है you have to transfer to general reserve पोस्ट टैक्स का 20%. दैट मीन्स आफ्टर टैक्स जो प्रॉफिट आया, आफ्टर टैक्स प्रॉफिट का यू हैव टू ट्रांसफर 20%. इवन इफ दे डोंट टेल यू आफ्टर टैक्स, इट इज ऑलवेज आफ्टर टैक्स ओनली. नाउ सी, प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ में ना, बिफोर यू पे द डिविडेंड, certain amount depending upon the rate of dividend has to be transferred to reserves. Now that all is not in your syllabus, so I'm not getting into that. So for your undergrad level, they will give you the percentage of reserves if there is any transfer, and whether mentioned or no, it has to be always of after tax. So from this, less transfer to general reserve, कितना परसेंटेज था? 20 था ना? लेट मी चेक. Yeah, 20. I'll just show it in brackets. So 70,000 का 20%, that is 14,000. Take the difference. 70 minus 14 gives you 56. 70 minus 14 gives you 56,000. So my profits after tax 70,000. From that deduct 20% general reserve. So 70 का 20% 14, and 70 minus 14 56,000. Now guys, see, we are finding out profits for equity shareholder. Understand the words, focus on the word what I'm stressing on. Profits available for equity shareholders. Shareholders दो टाइप के होते हैं, equity and preference. So after this, the next step, if in the question, after this the next step, if in the question there is preference share capital, then उसका dividend minus करो. If there is preference share capital, then उसका dividend minus करो. So उसके बाद जो बचता है वो पूरा का पूरा इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स का प्रॉफिट होगा. हाउ वी डू इन इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू? नेट एसेट्स, ओनली नेट एसेट्स, देन वी डिडक्ट द प्रेफरेंस शेयर कैपिटल. आफ्टर डिडक्टिंग प्रेफरेंस शेयर कैपिटल जो बचता है, दैट इज नेट एसेट्स फॉर इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स. सेम वे यहां पे, इसमें से अगर प्रेफरेंस शेयर कैपिटल है तो उसका डिविडेंड माइनस करो. दिस इज प्रॉफिट, आई डोंट हैव टू डिडक्ट कैपिटल, डिविडेंड. क्वेश्चन में प्रेफरेंस शेयर कैपिटल है, सो व्हाट यू विल डू, इसमें से डिडक्ट प्रेफरेंस डिविडेंड, इसमें से डिडक्ट प्रेफरेंस डिविडेंड. नाउ सी, 8,000 प्रेफरेंस शेयर्स ऑफ 10 each and 6% दिया है, so 6% is nothing but the rate of dividend. So I'll show the calculation in brackets. 8,000 मेरा number of shares, 8,000, face value per share 10 rupees, and what is the rate given? 6%. So multiply by 6%. So 8,000 into 10, 80,000. 8 6 48. So I deduct 4,800. The difference what I get is 51,200. The difference what I get is 51,200. So 56,000 minus 4,100 gives me 51,200, and this final answer becomes my profits available for equity shareholders. This becomes my profits available for equity shareholders. Clear with this? This is the major step. याद रखना, there are 4 steps, all are interconnected. एवरेज प्रॉफिट यहां का बेस बनेगा, स्टेप नंबर 3 का बेस ये होगा, एंड स्टेप नंबर 4 का बेस विल बी द आंसर ऑफ स्टेप नंबर 3. So I'll repeat guys again. Second step, calculation of profits available for equity shareholders. Take the average profit, deduct income tax. इनकम टैक्स डिडक्ट करने के बाद जो भी आया, दिस इज योर प्रॉफिट आफ्टर टैक्स. डिडक्ट उसका परसेंटेज ऑफ रिजर्व इफ देयर इज एनी, कभी कभी नहीं रहेगा, नहीं है तो 0. टेक द डिफरेंस, फ्रॉम दैट डिडक्ट द प्रेफरेंस डिविडेंड, नंबर ऑफ प्रेफरेंस शेयर्स इनटू द फेस वैल्यू इनटू रेट. और अगर स्ट्रेट अवे कैपिटल दिया है तो कैपिटल मल्टीप्लाई बाय रेट, एंड द डिफरेंस इज प्रॉफिट्स अवेलेबल फॉर इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स. गॉट इट? सो फर्स्ट स्टेप average profit, second step profits available for equity shareholder. Now I take step number 3, that is calculation of ERR. ERR is expected rate of return. ERR is expected rate of return. So calculation of expected rate of return, that is ERR. This is what the shareholders expect. So when you get the value of share now, when you get the value of share, you have to consider the expectation of the shareholder. वो कैसे calculate करना? Let's see. Now I have written in brackets ERR. This will always be rate of return, so multiply by 100. ERR का formula is ERR is equal to profits available for equity shareholders upon paid up equity share capital into 100. ERR is equal to profits available for equity shareholders upon paid up equity share capital into 100. Why this? This is the profit. This is what belongs to the shareholder in terms of profitability. Shareholders ने इतना invest किया है, so they will expect कि हमारे इन्वेस्टमेंट पे जो प्रॉफिट है एटलीस्ट उतना हम एक्सपेक्ट करें. दैट्स व्हाई इट इज कॉल्ड एज एक्सपेक्टेड रेट ऑफ रिटर्न, एंड बिकॉज इट इज रेट ऑफ रिटर्न इट हैज टू बी इन टर्म्स ऑफ परसेंटेज, सो आई मल्टीप्लाई बाय 100. ओके, अभी देखो प्रॉफिट्स अवेलेबल यहां से आया, कितना है 51,200 अपॉन. Now when I say paid up share capital, that is paid up equity share capital, that is share capital only because you are valuing equity shares. कितना है? Now see, 20,000 equity shares of 10 each. एक शेयर 10 रुपए का है and you have 20,000 shares. That means what? This is 2 lakh. 2 lakh कैसे आया? 20,000 shares multiply by 10, and this you will multiply by 100. See now, why we have used the word paid up capital now? Because you all have done an intrinsic. There is valuation of partly paid share. तुम लोग को पता है, you all have done in SYGC also accounting for share. When you issue shares, shares can be fully paid, shares can be partly paid. So when I say paid up share capital, so paid up share capital means that part of share capital where the shareholders have paid. 10 rupees का share है, nothing mentioned they have paid fully. Sometimes they'll give you 10 rupee का share, 8 paid up, So you will take 20,000 into 8. 10 rupee का share 6 paid up, 20 into 6. 10 rupee का share 4 paid up, 20 into 4. So paid up value. So any part which is not paid by the shareholders, that is unpaid amount, वो नहीं लेना है, यहाँ पे हमें सिर्फ paid up लेना है. So 20,000 shares into 10 rupees per share gives you 2 lakh. That is my paid up equity share capital. So 51,200 upon 2 lakhs into 100, that will be my NRR. Chalo, let's calculate. Gives you 25.6%. Therefore, my expected rate of return, that is ERR, is 25.6%. Therefore, ERR is 25.6%. Got it? So ERR 25.6%. I'll repeat, ERR is profits available for equity shareholders upon the paid up equity share capital into 100. Only the paid up value. यहाँ पे 10 रुपए का शेयर है, कुछ भी नहीं बोला. That means entire 10 is paid. As I told you, 10 रुपए का शेयर 8 paid up रहेगा, so you will take only 8. So this is what the shareholders expect. They expect a return of 25.6%. So now we will see, on the basis of their expectation, what share price can be expected. So now we come to the last step, that is step number 4. Just let me check the angle of the camera. Just थोड़ा उसका angle में नीचे ले लेता हूँ. Step number 4, that is calculation of yield value per share. Calculation of yield value per share. Formula. Yield value per share is equal to ERR, that is your expected rate of return, what we got right now, upon NRR into paid up value per share. ERR upon NRR into paid up value per share. Got it? So yield value का formula ERR upon NRR into paid up value per share. ERR we found out, NRR 85 to 90% सब में दिया रहेगा. Otherwise like in goodwill we may have to calculate, but यहाँ पे मैंने दिया हुआ है. Okay, चलो let's substitute. What is ERR? 25.6 what we got upon NRR. What is the NRR in the question? 12%. So divide by 12 into the paid up value. 10 रुपए का शेयर है, पूरा पेड अप है. अगर 10 रुपए का शेयर 8 पेड अप होता, आई वुड हैव मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 8, बट ये पूरा पेड अप है, सो आई टेक 10. Whatever is the paid up value, that value I will take. Okay, so 25.6 divided by 12 into 10 gives you rupees 21.33. That is my yield value per share. So my yield value per share is 21.33. Okay, my yield value per share is 21.33. So these are the 4 steps of yield value. I'll revise again. First, get the average profit, get the profits available for equity shareholder, get the ERR, which is profits available for shareholders divided by the paid up share capital into 100. then get the yield value ERR upon NRR into the paid up value per share. So this means if the business is continued by this company, shareholders can expect a market price of around 21.33. This is method number 2. These 4 steps are there. इसमें little bit variations profit में आएगा, बाकी all this will be same only. So after doing intrinsic was easy. This is also simple. In fact, after doing goodwill, you will find this very simple. Many times board exam में BAF BCom दोनों में 15 marks का समझ आया है, where they just ask you intrinsic value, yield value, fair value, fully worth. Even if you see when when we are going to solve the sums next few classes में, मतलब next 2-3 class में, all 3 methods in one sum fully worth of 15 marks. Got it? So that is the meaning yield value per share. Now as I told you, there are 3 methods. We have done till the earlier class intrinsic value, we saw yield, and now fair value. As I told you, it is very simple. So this was yield value. Now here I'll make you do fair value. So fair value per share, or you can just say fair value method. That was yield. Okay. Now I'll write the formula. Fair value per share is equal to what I told you, average of the two. So fair value per share is equal to intrinsic value per share plus yield value per share divided by 2. Intrinsic value per share, that is, एक मिनट, क्वेश्चन में दिया है मैंने, I have mentioned in the question intrinsic value. कितना है intrinsic value? 18.67. Intrinsic value 18.67 plus fair value जो ऊपर आया 21.33 divided by 2. I'll repeat, 18.67 plus 21.33 divided by 2. So just take 40 divided by 2. Therefore, my fair value per share is rupees 20. So I'll repeat, fair value is nothing but the fair price which a shareholder can expect. See, इसको fair क्यों बोलते हैं? There are 3 methods, correct? First intrinsic, second yield. Intrinsic का concept अलग है, yield का concept अलग है. So take उसका average, that is the fair price. Nor intrinsic पूरा, nor yield पूरा, take उसका average. So suppose if we want to sell the shares, 20 रुपए के आसपास है, then the market price is genuine. किसी को खरीदना है, fair value 20 रुपया है, ओके ठीक है, 20 रुपए के आसपास मिलता है, I'll buy it. That is the logic. So fair value is that price which is a fair price running in the market. इससे थोड़ा बहुत ऊपर नीचे चलेगा, but इससे ज्यादा वेरिएशन रहेगा, then you be cautious while buying. If you want to sell it, but when you buy it, see to it that 20 रुपए के आसपास उसका fair value है, तो price वो range में रहेगा, then you can take a call to buy or sell whatever it is. So this session was on yield value. We did intrinsic value. I didn't waste time because तुम लोग को पता है इसके लिए, I just straight away in the question gave you the intrinsic value, and after getting the yield value plus intrinsic, उसका average was fair value. Got it, guys? That's it as far as this session is concerned. Please understand the basic, because आगे के जो भी sums है अभी यहाँ से all on shares, and as I told you 50% of sums on shares में goodwill का भी revision हो जाएगा. So from now onwards, whatever sums I'll be doing in the regular class, it will be good revision of valuation of goodwill, good revision of intrinsic value plus fair value and yield value. That's it, guys. I wind up here. Please revise and take care.